So Tony taught me this. The idea is how to bring out the most character in someone's vocal. And I find that compressing the shit out of them when they belt makes me think that is not the best way to bring out character in the vocal. There are other ways. There are automation using Spectre, for example, just to give a geek trick. If you automate, instead of volume, if you automate upper mid-range presence on certain notes that feel like they're supposed to come out more, or automate, I did this on Talk on the Khalid vocal, automating a clipper or a saturator plugin on certain words, instead of turning them up, you're then leaning into it as if like you had an Al Green vocal or a Billie Holiday vocal where they're like hitting the mic a little too hard or the preamp too hard.
Or the tape machine or all those layers of subtle.
Yeah. And all those layers, you're feeling that emotion on those 60s records, those 50s records, all of those things, versus they're not just compressing them. They're compressing back based on the necessity to level out because they don't have all the tricks that we have to level vocals. And again, we talk about this a lot. I'm repeating myself here. But automating moves to increase the emotional connection is where I'm at versus the opposite, which is I'm going to just compress the fuck out of this so there's no dynamics. It feels sterile to me. Artists start sounding the same. I can't tell the difference a lot of the time where certain artists are because the character is sucked out of it in that technique.
Something I did recently a little bit on a vocal, I often think about clip gaining instead of compressing and limiting and that sort of thing as a way where I'm boosting up certain clips so they're more even. But I actually I sort of did the opposite thing recently where I'd done some clip gain and some other things, and I put a layer of saturators and compressors, a bunch of subtle things at once onto the vocal. And then I went back and started automating or clip gaining down certain things to get the feel of the vocal. So it was sort of the end of the process where I had everything really sticky, but it was a little too, everything is the same frequency range and the high end is all there and everything is just it was a little too much.
Yes.
And so I had that standard there, but then pulling down a few things, rhythmic things where the lyric was supposed to be ba 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 instead of ba 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 ba. So I just pulled down the volumes a little bit and made it a little more dynamic. So there's all kinds of ways to play with this stuff. And
you got to go too far to be able to pull it back and even hear what's there. And that was the whole thing with the Talk mix we talked about, which is even the hi-hats and the synths that are doing that melody on the rough mix in the over-compressed EDM version of Disclosure's rough mix, the ba 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 ba. It was like ba 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 ba. It had this like sameness to it versus ba 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 ba. Where it swings. It's the same tempo, but now it feels sexier because I clip gained all the fucking hi-hats and all the fucking synths there just enough. It could be 0.5 dB, but to get that bounce.
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder, all of this content is free. There's no secret knowledge here. We don't have sponsors. We don't run ads. We don't have a Patreon. All that we ask in return is that you share it with somebody. Thanks.